Cheers, my loves. I hope that all of you are doing really well. And in this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about how sometimes you think that you're showing interest in a person when you're getting to know somebody. Sometimes you think that you're being a giver, you're giving them enthusiasm, you're giving them romance, you're giving them attention, when in reality you're being a taker. You're acting in a very needy way that is unattractive to both men and women, and to understand why and to understand how to tell the difference. Here is the thing. There's at one point in all of our lives, as much as I don't like the terms, we have all acted as low value people. And at one point in our lives, we have all acted as high value people. And what is the difference between when we acted like low value people and when we acted like high value people? As a high value person, you bring to the table. Now, when you're just getting to know someone, you don't bring so much looks. You don't bring so much money. You don't bring so much intelligence. You don't bring so much this asset or that asset. Mostly what you bring is energy. As a low value person, you take from the interaction. You say, I need to fill a void. I don't have enough. I am needy. And a lot of people don't realize that they've been takers, that they've been behaving in a low value way. They talk to somebody, or they come home after an encounter and they say, I felt such a connection. I'm sure that this is a mutual connection. And they don't realize that they've been charged. They've been energized. They've been receiving, but it doesn't mean that the other person has. What it means is that the other person had game. What it means is that the other person potentially was using some kind of strategy on them, or maybe it wasn't even a conscious strategy. Maybe that person is so fun, skilled, experienced that it's it's their natural way of relating to other people. Understand this, that what all of us want in an encounter is we want to feel like we are in front of somebody who is desirable, who is popular, who is coveted, who is special in some way, valuable in some way. And then to see that that kind of special, that kind of valuable person gives us importance, the feeling that we're special to them, the feeling that lightness, energy, letting go of our boundaries, the feeling of validation, the feeling of being seen, the feeling of being heard. When we are proportioned this kind of cocktail, absolutely all of us end up feeling like we had a good time and we felt a connection. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the other person had as good of a time. More likely than not, it means the other person was taking us on a ride. They knew how to make us have fun. They knew how to create this light atmosphere. They knew how to laugh in an exaggerated way, what stories to bring to the table. They understood how to flirt in ways that you recognize, in ways that you like, in ways that encourage you. And it doesn't mean that just because in this interaction you were a taker and they were a giver, that this doesn't proceed, because you both need to be givers. A person can thoroughly enjoy taking you on a ride. It can be its own kind of fun, taking somebody on a ride and then feeding off of the reactions of this person, seeing the kind of emotions you're evoking in them, the kind of enthusiasm, anticipation, laughter that you're evoking in that other person. It can be rewarding in itself. But it stops being rewarding in the second that that person starts acting like a junkie, when they start acting needy, when they start recognizing you as a dopamine hit and wanting more and more of that dopamine hit. What it tells the other person is that you're not actually fun. You don't enjoy your own company. You don't have a life. You don't have things going for you. And the only way that you can get that high and that feeling is through them. When you think of that high, of that feeling, of that charge, the first thing that comes to your mind is them. And that reveals to the other person that you're not actually an asset, because you wouldn't have such a strong need for them if you truly could bring high value to the table, would you? Therefore, there's guys and girls equally that will be like, oh, I'm so romantic, I'm so emotional, I'm so sincere, I like to interact with people all day, I feel a connection immediately, I want to tell them immediately about all of my feelings, I want to text them all day long, I want to be with them all day long. Because you're getting something out of it, because you're getting their energy out of it, you're getting their appreciation out of it, and what you are revealing to them is a lack of self-control. You're revealing to them that when you get that feeling, you lose introspection. You lose your ability to analyze the situation. You prioritize yourself. You don't actually put yourself in the shoes of the other person. You don't actually think about the other person and their needs. You just want your hit. And to make things worse, you want your hit while labeling it how emotional, sensitive, romantic you are. No, you are needy. You are recognizing that you're getting more out of the interaction than you're bringing to the table. And again, that's okay. Giving that kind of pleasure to somebody can be its own sort of ecosystem, its own sort of reward system, but the person needs to respect you. The person needs to respect your needs when you're starting to subtly indicate, or they're starting to subtly indicate they need space. They need distance. They need to recharge. They need to focus on other things. They actually have a life. You need to stop insisting. You need to stop feeling entitled. You need to stop pursuing. You need to stop trying to control them, trying to dominate the space, trying to claim them, trying to prematurely close off other options for them. You stop being interesting almost immediately. And it doesn't actually matter how attractive you are. That's the funny thing. If you act in a way that is so low value and so unattractive, it won't matter how physically attractive you are. It won't matter how abundant you are. A lot of these things, unless you're dealing with somebody really needy in that department, they will stop mattering because you're saying, I want to take from you. Now, I have mentioned in another video of mine that men like women who are like cats, and women like men who are like dogs, and I want to clarify that later. Later, when she already is really into you, when she already really likes you, she likes a man who's like a dog. But not at the beginning, not when she's just getting to know you, when she hasn't chosen you yet, and you're already trying to claim her completely for yourself and acting as if she has chosen you. That is a big red flag for most high-value women. Most high-value women don't like that. They will run for the hills. They won't say, this is such a reliable guy, such a great guy. They'll say, this is somebody without a life. This is somebody needy. This is somebody without options. This is somebody who much too quickly recognized the value in me and started fearing losing me, which tells me a lot about him. And later, that changes. For example, for me, I could identify the difference between when I'm infatuated with somebody, when I'm obsessed with somebody, when I really like somebody, when I'm really attracted to somebody, and when I'm starting to fall in love with somebody, which is quite different. And one thing, because it can be very hard to tell. It can be very hard to tell whether you're coming from the mind, whether this is mental, whether you are coming from that hormonal place, or whether you're actually coming from the heart. You're feeling this recognition, you're feeling this heartfelt connection. And the way that I could tell, the very few times that it happened for me, that I have gotten to that point, is because when I was getting to that point, I enjoyed my time away from the person more than my time with the person, even as a woman. Even as a woman, I preferred that time away where I could think back, where I could dream, where I could fantasize, where I could analyze, where I could imagine, where I could re-experience all of these emotions, but with greater intensity. But when I was really starting to fall for somebody, I didn't want them to go. I didn't want them to leave, and they didn't need to be giving me attention, validation, flirting, the feeling of importance, the feeling of specialness. They just needed to be. And if they were in the same space, if I could see them, look at them, smell them, hear them, life was better. Life was more beautiful, life was more fulfilling, life was more saturated, just due to the mere fact of their existence. And when I say women like men who are like dogs, when she really loves you, she won't need that much from you. The mere fact of your presence. Not all the time. The mere fact of your presence, the mere fact of your existence, the mere fact of the way that you make her feel safe, at home, by being, by existing. That is how you know she loves you. That is how you know that is where this is going. Now, it's a little bit different for a man because your guys' needs are a little bit different from the needs that we girls have. You will have less of that need for her presence. You are more visual too, so you do want your woman to be continuously putting more effort into themselves. The expectations are higher for a woman for seducing men continuously and things like that. But it is more of a, it is less of an anxious feeling, and it is more of a feeling of home. All right, so just want to clarify that, guys, because when you are acting this way, when you're just starting to get to know somebody, you're translating low value. You're translating that you want something from them, that you need to take things, and that you're not the one that is taking them on a ride, and you cannot control yourself. Cheers. I wish you all a beautiful day.